there, my name is Mara Lee and I wanted to welcome you to my YouTube channel, Living in Seattle Suburbs. So you're moving to Seattle, you got a new job, maybe you want to be closer to your kids or your grandkids. I've got clients who are moving here from the Midwest and they just want to hike and ski and hunt. So there's a lot of reasons why people move here, and you don't have to live in Seattle. You can live in the suburbs. And I'll tell you, we've got the most beautiful suburbs. I don't want to say the world, but I don't know. I mean, I've traveled around the world and I'm still living here. So a very lovely place to live. And because of my work, which is selling real estate, I'm able to travel around and see many different parts of Seattle suburbs. So I've been in a lot of the cities. I've helped clients purchase and sell. And I just enjoy working with buyers. It's like a field trip for me. So we go out and we see a lot of sites and, look for homes. So welcome again, and you can hit the subscribe button if you'd like to get updates. I am going to be doing many more topics of living in Seattle suburbs, and I'll be doing lots of different cities and towns, the pros and the cons, and sharing with you the things that I know about. So let's get started. I thought I would talk today about Stanwood, Washington. Stanwood, it's lovely. It's north of where I live. So we have Seattle down here, and we're heading up north, I-5 towards Canada, and you would hit like Alderwood and Linwood. Those are pretty close to Seattle. They're pretty popular, much more dense population. And then more north to Everett is the next most popular town, I would say, probably due to Boeing. And heading up even north, about 10 more minutes is Marysville, where I live. And this has become very popular with Boeing and military people. And I do have people who work in Seattle. My own daughter, she works in Seattle and lives in Marysville. And then from Marysville, I think it's about 15 minutes to Stanwood. So they're saying here in this study that I was doing that Seattle is about 50 minutes away. And I agree. I do agree. I think it's about 50 minutes to go to Seattle. You can also live in Stanwood and work in Bellevue too. That's about the same distance, I would say. I've got clients who work at Boeing and live in Stanwood, and there's a lovely carpool van that goes around and picks everybody up. So you can catch that, and then you don't have to worry about driving yourself. Stanwood is a little more north than the other towns, like I was showing you, and therefore the property is much more affordable. Stanwood is definitely more rural, and you can get acreage, lots of farms there. Stanwood's also on the Puget Sound. So some of the properties there could have flooding. You want to be pretty careful about where you live. And in our area, with all the lakes and the rivers and the Puget Sound, we do have flooding issues, and the county's well aware of it. They professionally address it, and it's always something I look for if somebody wants to live by a river. And I tell them it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to flood. And generally around here, there's the 100-year flood, and I don't know why they call it that, because it floods about every 15 years. And there's different flood levels. So when you purchase a house here, it is mandatory to get flood insurance. And it can range from $50 a month up to $1,000. It just depends. So it just depends on where you're living and I guess the type of flooding. I've sold a lot of houses. I've seen a lot of properties on flood river areas, and I've seen them build walls around, like a rock wall around the property to combat flooding. You can generally tell when you walk in the yard what type of plants are there and how the terrain looks if it floods. Neighbors are more than happy to tell you about what's going on. So I do know that some areas of Stanwood might have some flood risks. Doesn't mean it all floods. Stanwood is very, very, very close to Camano Island, which is like a planet on its own. It's a little further of a drive to Seattle, so a lot of people don't go to Camano Island. It's definitely island living. You don't have to use a boat to get there though. It's a bridge, and where The land of Stanwood and Camino Island kind of all meet. It's a small waterway. Sometimes you can't even tell because the tide goes in and out. So getting to Camino Island, it doesn't really feel like you're going on an island, but you are on an island, and Stanwood is right next to it. So you can have all the island comforts and live in Stanwood. So some of the things that are lovely, let's say pros about Stanwood, is the historic charm. Oh my gosh, there's some beautiful, beautiful turn of the century homes there. I've been through quite a few of them, and well-kept gardens. You can get farmland if that's what you choose. There is also new construction though. And then what's interesting is some of this new construction has property with it. So it's not necessarily your typical 4,000, 5,000 square foot yard. You can get even up to an acre. And then some of these that even have like 5 acres have gated communities. So it's pretty interesting. And you can do it in Stanwood because there's more space. Stanwood does have a lot of community events, and I've seen some of them. I know they kind of coincide with Camino Island as well. So community events are very important. There's several riverfront parks, and let's see, I've got the names here. There's McKee's Beach. It's got very calm water, which is perfect for kayaking. And I'll tell you, if you haven't kayaked before, you can do it. I did it. You can do it. I have 2 actually inflatable kayaks myself now, which means I can handle them all by myself. And what I do is I blow them up a little bit in the back of my SUV, drive to wherever I'm going, and then finish blowing them up, and off we go. So kayaking is a very easy sport. And then there's paddleboarding, which is what a lot of the people in my family like to do. They like to stand up and paddle around. I prefer to sit. So it's fun though. We take our dogs with us, and you can jump in and swim. So there's also Hamilton Landing Park. This is a newer riverside destination, and it's got a public boat launch. And I mean, you're taking yourself right out into the Puget Sound. So it's definitely salty water living is what I call it. You've got the lovely beaches. You can turn a rock and see a crab. There's animals that are swimming around. There's a lot of eagles that like to live on the coastal types of land, and they fly up and down. And it's I mean, I've seen it myself where they're just whoop, whoop, back and forth right over your house. So very, very nice. Some of the other parks that are close by, we have Lake Goodwin. It's just such a lovely little lake, and I have been on there quite a bit. It's good for kayaking, paddleboarding, boating, jet skiing, fishing from the docks, and we have also camped there. There's Wenberg State Park, and there's an RV park there. There's a little store, and I mean, I grew up in Everett, which is about a half an hour away from Stanwood, and we would come up and camp. And it was really neat, especially on the 4th of July, we'd all get together and camp. So we really enjoyed that. There's Kayak Point County Park, and you do have to pay for parking there. I was just there last weekend. Gorgeous, gorgeous. They just updated a bunch of the park. There's yurts. You can rent a yurt and sleep there. You can come down just for the day and have a fire and a picnic. You can launch your boat, or you can have a larger group in the covered picnic area, which is what we did. We had our office party. And so there was about, I think, 100 people and plenty of table room. We barbecued, we kayaked, we paddleboarded, and the water, it's like a cove there. So the water is very calm. And I know there were people paddleboarding who'd never done it before, and they were out there enjoying it. And they said the water felt pretty warm. I myself didn't go in the water. So Stanwood has a lot of water activities. Paddleboarding, tubing, you can crab, you can clam. If you've never done that, that's something you really want to do. Jet skis are there, fishing, it's very peaceful, and just a lot of fun. You can dive, there's disc golfing, and it's a wonderful way to live if you want to really be involved in the water sports. Now, if you don't want to, you can just enjoy the beautiful sunsets, because that's where they are. They're right over the water. And I'll tell you, the color of the sky is lovely, and it's so beautiful and relaxing to watch the different sunsets every night. The population of Stanwood is about 8,350. I think there's more right now because I think it's grown a little bit. The median age, they say, is 36. I find that kind of hard to believe. I feel like there's some older families too that live here. You know, there's generations for sure. The average income is $87,000 to $113,000. I think it can go lower than that as well. I know I've got clients who make less than that and purchase. And then the home value is, I think you can get like from 400 on up. And when I say on up, I mean on up. There is multi-million-dollar houses on the cliffs looking over the waterfront or just on the waterfront. But you know what? You can find like a $400,000 or $500,000 house on the waterfront too, if we're lucky. So they do come up. Some of the cons about living in Stanwood, Washington is limited nightlife. You definitely will be going out if you want to dance and have a night on the town. But what you can do is you could come to Tulalip, which is right west of Marysville where I live, and it's about 25 minutes from Stanwood, depending on where you live. And Tulalip is a resort casino, and it is gorgeous, and they have a lot of things going on all the time. They've got seasonal things, and they've got restaurant. They have live music almost every night. There's concerts, outdoor concerts at the amphitheater. And as far as I know, those are 21 and over. And I've gone several times. I go every year. We just went and saw Kool and the Gang and the Commodores. Oh, it was amazing. And what I love about the Tulalip Amphitheater is that it's the parking is free, plenty of it, and it's a small venue. It's not very large. They get these really great acts that we know of, and it's adult only. So, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. I feel like the tickets are pretty reasonable, and you can go in the beer garden there and, you know, enjoy yourself. So, lots of things to do that are close by to Stanwood, but yet you're living in your rural utopia at your sanctuary. You know, are you going to have cows and goats and chickens? You know, do you want emus and llamas? It just depends on what you're thinking you want to do, or do you just want a house with a beautiful view? You could have a house on a lake, because there's lakes, there's rivers. You can get to the mountains in like 45 minutes. You can, you know, hunt, ski, snowboard, camp, hike in the mountains. Or, you know, as we mentioned earlier, you can go on the water and enjoy all those water sports. So Stanwood has a lot to offer, and a lot of towns close by have a lot to offer as well. And if you're thinking of living in Stanwood and you don't mind a drive or a commute, you can commute down to Seattle or over to Bellevue, especially if you only have to go in a couple days a week. It's very doable, and I've had clients actually do it. So think about it, and if you're thinking of moving here, you can subscribe and you can contact me directly and we can talk about it, because I know these areas very, very well. I enjoy them, and you know, once again, I wanted to say Seattle is 50 minutes away, Bellevue 53, and Everett about 20. So not too far and pretty doable. And it's called Stanwood Washington. And I'll tell you, not too many people know about it. So hit the subscribe and we will connect later. Thanks for stopping by.